Hello and welcome once again to the Little Knowledge podcast with me, Paul Busby, and with Goff Morgan. Hi, Goff.
So, hello, everybody. Greetings to you as we scurry towards the festive period. Trees are up, mince pies are out. Mind you, I could be said that in the middle of October, so that doesn't date this program at all, does it? Actually,
Are you, last time for regular viewers and listeners,
yeah,
Goff had a bad leg and was away from polite society for how long were you out of action for?
it was about 3.5 months.
3.5 months. But what
Yeah,
is
oh,
your
we
current state then?
went on forever. Oh, I am now back at work, back at Street House, doing my business. Getting in there, sitting in the front, being welcoming and jovial and admirable as I normally am. But yeah, it's the knee is functional, but it's not what it was before. But I'm old now.
None of us are
65,
what we were before.
people 65. I was on the 8th of December. Won't see 65 again.
You don't want to see 65 again. It was a rotten year.
One year, yeah. Bloody old year, that one. Yeah, give me
No,
the
it was
back of that one. Yeah, no,
Okay.
health-wise, I'm much better.
Well, that's good. So what I thought we'd do today is we have talked about quite a few. I mean, Wales famous for its castles, and we've talked about some belters. I mean, you get the really big ones like Chepstow Castle and Raglan Castle, and I really quite like Caldecott Castle. I think that was
Yes,
the
yeah,
last one we did.
learned a lot about that, which I didn't remotely know. That's really cool, that one.
But you didn't just get the big castles, you see. You got these little tiny ones, these little ones that would sort of be given to knights. So the lords and the earls are at the bit are at your Chepstows and your Raglans, but you've
Yeah.
got these little watchtowers, these little ones.
Yes, it's an interesting little thing that we did not to think about much of. These tiny little crossing point garrison forts almost, aren't they? Manned by your local squirearchy. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And there were six of them, sort of this side of Wentwood, the Wentwood
But there
Chase,
were
as it was called.
six of them.
Six little castles as part of the Wentwood Chase, as they were called. Basically, they were sort of to keep an eye security wise,
Yeah.
in case, the locals get uppity, as we
Well,
often do.
and they were inclined to.
They had that characteristic, yes. And also, it was to keep an eye on, certainly in this case, Penhow. That's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Penhow Castle. You see it here. And Penhow is, well, it's almost in Newport these days, isn't it?
Yes, Newport
Newport
has
is,
crept ever further out. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So Penhow here is situated very nicely originally to keep an eye on the main road going through South Wales.
Yes.
You got the
And
main
it,
road going through there, and
yeah.
Penhow Castle was just on there, just to keep an eye.
Yeah, and as you see, it says ancient road because
Yeah.
and it links up with the Roman road up here as well. So this is all part of that Roman infrastructure. So it's on a site of great antiquity. This.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely it is. And also the other one, which we'll probably get to as well in this episode, at least that's the plan. If you just go down this way, you have Pencoid Castle.
Oh, do you know, for some reason, I've Pencoid Castle in entirely the wrong place. Isn't that interesting?
Oh, you thought it was elsewhere?
Yeah. I've just got it all completely mixed up. Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah,
So
Landmartin
these
is
were these were
Pencoid.
two of the six then.
Yeah, these were two of the six. So let's have a little look how they looked at it. Not much different, really. Yeah. So we have, you got a church right next to Penhow Castle. So you got Penhow Castle here.
Yeah.
And you've also got a place. Is it mentioned on here? There's a little inn nearby. You got the brook. There's a
Yeah.
little inn nearby called the Rock and Fountain, which is
Oh
here.
yes, I can see it. It's where that little yellow dot is.
It is. And it's called the Rock and Fountain because oddly, Penhow Castle didn't have a well.
Oh.
So the spring was at the bottom of the hill.
Oh
So by
right.
a cart, water had to be taken up the hill to Penhow Castle. And the Rock and Fountain got its name because that's where near there was where the spring. There's a very powerful spring in this region, hence Rock and Fountain. And it
Oh.
comes out of the rock. So it
Yeah.
essentially became the water supply for Penhow Castle.
Well. Seen that many a time. I didn't know that.
For a while, they changed the name of the pub to something like the Castle Arms. So,
Mm.
but fortunately, it's back as the Rock and
Yeah.
Fountain now, as it should be, quite frankly.
Well,
I'm a
quite.
stickler for that. And here we are. Penhow Castle. It's a little diddy castle. And you would get it. I mean, like I said, it wasn't just to watch. It protects your knightly retainers if you're from, well, for Chepstow Castle in this instance.
Yeah.
And you could keep this on what was called a knight's fee. And a knight's fee basically meant that you supplied, say, 2 men a month to help garrison Chepstow Castle.
Oh, how interesting.
And in time of war, you had to supply 1 man on a horse.
Oh, right.
So it was called a knightly fee. You had obligations if you were put in the place here. And it started off really with just a keep. And the interesting thing is the keep wasn't circular. It was like the square keep at Chepstow Castle, which when you think this is a mini sort of version of it, the keep that you can see here. And it was in 1129 that the keep was built. So it's square rather than circular. Yeah. And that was done by a man, a Norman, of course. Roger, initially, Roger de Saint Maur, or Saint Maur, because Saint Maur was the place in Normandy that family came from.
Oh, right.
And if Saint Maur, if you're wondering, is the patron saint of charcoal burners, rheumatism, and cobblers. So if you can't get your charcoal burner going, which doesn't help your rheumatism, and you've got holes in your shoes, you pray to Saint Maur.
Yeah.
And Saint Maur,
I don't think encouraged by the patron saint of cobblers. I think Do you think he's got a lateral collection into the media industry as well?
Entirely possible. But that name Saint Maur didn't survive. It changed, it altered into Seymour.
Oh, right.
By 1129, Roger de Seymour was the man essentially who built the keep. And there's this wonderful little website called Drawn Again Archaeological Reconstructions. There's a guy called Daniel Secker who produced a lovely image of Penhow Castle as it looked in that initial period.
Oh, gosh.
So you've got the single keep. Interestingly, the way into the keep is, as we would say in Britain rather than America, at the first floor level.
Yes.
There's no ground floor access. So you've got a wooden sort of ladder which can be taken away if you get attacked. And this is 3 levels.
Yeah.
So to get to the top.
You see something essentially the same at Chepstow Castle as well, the keep in the middle there. The entrance doorway is like halfway up in the middle of the wall.
Modelled on Chepstow Castle, yeah.
Yeah, so you climb up you climb up that, because in times of warfare, you just knock it down and get rid of the staircase. You're inside and they can't get up to the door. That's the theory. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Bailey, there is actually a church next door to Penhow Castle. It would have been there, or a version of it then. And the Bailey actually went right out and encompassed the church nearby. So you've got this little bit here with the keep, but you've also got an outer Bailey or court, which goes out here as well. So this is how it would have looked, we think, in 1129.
Yeah.
So like you said, you've got these 3 levels here. It's quite interesting, the stairs up. Seymour's rooms would have been at the top here.
Yes.
To get up there, you go up the stone staircase, and there is that foolproof defensive mechanism. All the steps are exactly the same size, except one, which is 2 inches bigger.
Yeah. You wonder how many families just fell down that repeatedly.
Well, this is the problem. That's all very well when you're defending it, but when this becomes a private house in later years and a farmhouse, how many guests thought, I'll go up here? I mean, it's going to happen, isn't it?
Bound to, isn't it? Because that's what it was designed for.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, the Seymours are settled, and as time goes on, they decide they have to strengthen this. So this is what they do.
Oh, right.
So they've basically gone from wood to stone, haven't they?
Yeah.
Still the same keep, although now it appears to have been maybe strengthened at the top and castellated with a wall walk you can see here.
Yeah.
You've got your hall, your main hall is now a building inside here, and your bailey is now in stone rather than wood.
Yes.
And you have a moat.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Remember, the castle is already on a hill, so you've already got nice defences as well.
Yeah.
So this is how we look. Now, the Seymours, they like to sort of ingratiate themselves with the local populace, as Normans are famous for doing in those early days. And Sir William Seymour in 1240, he'd done well. He'd married the daughter of the Earl of Pembroke, so well done. And he decided to strengthen this link with Chepstow Castle, his boss. He made basically an agreement, a nefarious agreement with Gilbert Marshall to deprive one of the local lords, Morgan ap Howell, of the manor of Undy.
Oh, yeah.
So what they do is they stitch it up, they kick out Morgan ap Howell, they take Undy and they split it between them. It's very interesting. In 1978, when they were doing studies at Penhow Castle, they actually found in the levels, when they dug under the ground, for this time period, a number of circular slingshots were found. Which basically suggests that the local populace were not that happy of Morgan ap Howell being dispossessed by the Seymours, turned up at the castle and just flung slingshots at it in protest.
Well.
It's entirely possible. So maybe that happened.
Oh, yeah.
They had
I don't think we actually realise how dangerous slingshots actually are.
Oh, yeah. I didn't mean it as a sort of.
Oh, no, they are.
Sort of an indication.
They're not people that, chuck a few stones at the wall. These things were going at bullet speed, some of them. They were trying to swung it around and let it go. Oh, yeah. Very, very dangerous weapon, the slingshot.
For those Seymours that survive the trick step going up to their room and beyond to the roof of the keep.
Quick, we're being attacked upstairs.
Do you know
He's down again. He's down again.
You know what? That trick step is still there to this day. The number of bodies it must have still to this day manages to get, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Interestingly, though, Seymour, we find this a lot with these little, apparently sleepy and historically unimportant South Wales properties. This was the first major house in Britain of the St. Maur family, the Seymour family. So the direct descendants of those that had slingshots thrown at them because of the Morgan ap Howell dispossession went on to become very important people in the land, and this is how they got their start in Britain. For example, one person, Jane, got to the very top.
Yes, that just occurred to me as just a moment before you said it. I'm going to say, is it the connection with Jane Seymour?
It is absolutely directly a connection with Jane Seymour.
Well.
So yeah, and this is the famous portrait, of course, with posthumously, sadly, because of course, as we know, Jane Seymour died just after childbirth of mother to a king, of course, wife to Henry VIII, mother to Edward VI.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Lady Mary and the Lady Elizabeth as they became, queens. Got Will Summers over here with his pet monkey. Always cheers me up.
Oh, yeah.
When I see Will Summers and his pet monkey.
Yeah.
And this lady over here, sort of hovering, is Mother Jack.
Mother Jack?
Mother Jack was essentially the governess who brought up Edward VI in the early part of his life.
Interesting.
But isn't it amazing to think that it all stemmed from Penhow Castle?
Yeah. There is a Henry VIII connection to this area in Newport as well, isn't there?
Well, we found,
He actually was Lord of the Manor of Newport Castle for a short period after he cut one of the Herberts family's head off and took it over. Yeah. So that's quite interesting. At the same time as the Seymour's connection, Henry's later on is stomping around down here as well.
Yeah. Well, the Seymours don't go on forever here. In 1430, it's a daughter left, because they move on, don't they? They have cadet branches, as we know, little offshoots. Isabella Seymour in 1430 marries a guy called John Bowles, and his son Thomas was knighted by the future Richard III at the Siege of Berwick. But important for us today, Thomas Bowles married Maud, who was the daughter of Sir Thomas Morgan of Pencoid Castle, thus linking the two subjects of today's podcast. It all links, you see.
It all links. Yeah, well, they all married each other, didn't they?
They did.
Basically, there was one gene difference, and they were passing it around between them. That's all you can say. It wasn't quite the Habsburgs. They didn't get into the chins. They were all right.
Yes, love linked Pencoid and Penhow. Yeah. But in a more important way, that meant that the wings of the Seymours and the Bowles and the griffin of the Morgans were carved in stone outside the Great Hall of Penhow Castle. Now, in the 16th century, with the grim inevitability of Greek tragedy, the Somerset family take over, because, it's It's either Somerset, Herbert, or Morgan in this area,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yes, definitely, yeah.
In the 16th century. And eventually they sell it off 1674 to Thomas Lewis of Saint Pierre. We've done a podcast on
Yes,
Saint Pierre as well. And he decides that by this point, that what he really needs is a modern, fashionable house, not this, keep with a trick step and this
yeah,
dodgy old hall. So this is what the house looks like today. Lovely angle, this. This is extremely good. So there's the gatehouse. There's the keep. Of
yeah.
course, that's
Oh,
Seymour.
yeah,
And then in the late 14th and throughout the 15th century, they have the Great Hall here. So that's built here.
yeah.
And Saint Pierre's Louis of Saint Pierre decides to build a modern house, 17th century house here.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got all these different periods.
Yeah,
and
it's
how
a
they
fascinating
managed
little building, isn't it?
It is. And how they
And
managed
also, a lot of the retaining wall has been left on that interior part as well. Look, the exterior it's come down and they're facing us, but behind that battlement wall is still there.
Yes, certainly this bit. Of course, when this was built, it was 1674. So you're talking restoration, time of peace. You can have your
Yeah.
windows out looking.
Well,
You don't
yes,
have to
yeah.
worry too much about that. In fact, I got some good images of it from towards the bottom of the hill. So here we have the 17th century
Yeah.
Lewis house, Lewis of Saint Pierre. And yeah, and that's what you mean, isn't it?
Yeah, and that bit of that Bailey wall, keep wall is still there.
Yeah, you got that, and you got the modern house.
So there's a nice
Inevitably-
courtyard in the middle of the house.
Yeah, there is a courtyard in the middle as well. But inevitably, what happens with these places, and we've seen it so often, it just becomes a farmhouse.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not a massive mansion, is it?
No,
And so Lewis has Saint Pierre, and so what they do is they tenant it out,
yeah,
and it becomes a farmhouse, and then it becomes run down.
yeah.
And the Great Hall will become a chicken coop and things
Yeah.
like that. I mean, because what,
yeah, they-
what does a
yeah, they get
farmer
turned into
need with?
Yeah, they get turned into barns, basically barns and stables of the old halls. Yeah,
Yeah. And so the great days of Penhow Castle, you could say, is sort of over by the early 1700s. Because from the early 1700s until 1966, it's a farmhouse.
yeah,
The farmhouse being the 17th century bit.
Hmm.
The keep ended up having just one, so two floors were open to the elements. The bottom one had a roof, and that was used as a dairy.
Oh gosh,
You don't have to worry about the trick step because nobody was getting up there anymore. It
Yeah.
was open to the elements.
yeah,
And this is a mid-19th century view of it. And so again, Penhow becomes extraordinarily unloved, even by people who are supposed to be interested in history. Somebody who wrote about the historic, what they used to do in the 18th century? They used to go around they used to walk around and they used to write in their books about historic buildings.
yeah.
Cox famously. Cox is
Yeah.
trip around Monmouthshire in 1800, and Burke, of course,
Yeah.
did a similar one, didn't he?
Yeah,
But they looked at the hill at Penhow Castle. So you get to the road, you'd look up and you'd think,
Yeah.
I can't be bothered going up there.
Oh no, never.
One person actually wrote that.
Oh
Said,
god.
there is no significant history at Penhow Castle, so we essentially, in flowery language, he said, I couldn't be bothered to climb the hill to have a look at it.
Oh, heaven's sake.
It's only a farmhouse, isn't it? But there was one man, Goff,
Yeah.
that did take an interest. There was one man who put in the historical research. There was one man, with the help of his partner, that produced the first book on, or the first paper on Penhow Castle, pretty much ever. And it was the authority for surely a century or so. And of course that was,
Octavius Swinnerton Morgan,
of course,
antiquarian and politician, as he says there. Yeah, oh yeah, Octavius.
who else?
But a complex figure who I think
Oh.
we may have touched on in other podcasts with the Morgan family. But yeah, he was a leading light in antiquarian circles in this area particularly, but also at a national level as well. I think there is a tendency to want to dismiss Octavius because he wasn't a nice man politically. He was a foe of Chartism, which is not a good thing to be in our area. He was an unloved figure personally, but he was a member of the Fellow of the Royal Society, and he was seen to be very respected within that. And a lot of the things that we take for granted in our our area now, the initial excavations and explorations that were done, Quent particularly, Roman baths at Cullinan, etc. These are down to Octavius and driving them, obviously with others, not independently, but driving them forward. So yeah,
Yeah, he
I'm.
was a leading light of his day.
I
Yeah.
think yeah, I think we can be too quick to dismiss the Octavius as being an amateur. I don't think he wasn't really an amateur. He was
No,
very,
he
very,
wasn't. He was very
very.
well qualified, and
Oh
he
yeah,
and with his partner Thomas Wakeman, they often did papers and books and
yeah.
on all kinds of subjects. And he was the leading sort of historian in this area at the time. There's no doubt about that. And
Mm,
that didn't come from his birth, that he was, the first Lord Tredegar's brother or the son of
yeah,
the famous Sir Charles Morgan. It was because he earned it, really. And he wrote about Penhow
well,
Castle when no one else cared.
yeah. Well, I mean, he was in a privileged position.
Oh, yeah.
As Octavius, he was the eighth child. That's where the
Yeah.
oct comes from. Um, and though he is criticised for it, essentially what he did was he just lived off the family money, and his father supported his academic studies. And when his mother died, he more or less took over the running of Tredegar House. He sort of did become mistress of Tredegar House, something which was commented on very unfavourably in many of the gossipy texts at the time. So that's
Absolutely.
what he did. He had a domestic life, more or less. He ran the household for his father, and the money from the Morgan estate went into funding some of his incredibly extravagant antiquarian hobbies.
Yeah.
Um, his clock collection is in the Victoria and Albert Museum.
British Museum.
I beg your pardon, the British
Sorry, yeah.
Museum.
Just in
Uh,
case anyone wants to go and see it. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. I always get those two mixed up for some obscure reason. Yeah, so and that is phenomenal. But he wrote papers on dog breeds. He had a collection of papal rings.
Yeah. Silver markings. Yeah. He was
Oh,
extraordinary.
oh
Well, he
yeah,
did.
he originated a lot of what we now think of hallmark
Yeah.
classification.
Yeah. He
So yeah,
did
the man
get.
is significant.
He wouldn't. And when he got things wrong, he admitted it. He did get one thing wrong here, but understandably with Penhow. Got the history all right. But he was convinced with the evidence he was looking at the time that it was more a fortified manor house rather than a really defensible place. And he
Oh
saw
yeah.
no evidence at the time for a moat. Well,
Oh,
they found the moat and drawbridge in the 1970s. But when you see
oh,
Octavius commissioned drawings of Penhow Castle, which are very valuable. So in 1864, it looked like this. So no evidence of any kind of moat. It doesn't have a
yeah.
well. And you can understand why he said that, really. So he was
Oh
certainly very
yeah.
valuable. But look at the state of Penhow Castle in 1864. It's a bit of a doer-upper, isn't it?
It is really, yeah.
Ever so
Yeah,
slightly.
yeah, gosh.
And this is
Mind
a
you,
view in it.
you also need to take a slight pinch of salt with some of those illustrations because they do want to romanticize
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
ruins at that period. So yeah, it might have been overgrown, but that is very lushly overgrown, isn't it? That's very romantically presented as an overgrown building.
Oh, it is, yeah. There's no doubt about that. Um, Here's a little view of it in 1800. Again, they've taken, this is probably romanticized. Apart from
Yeah,
a little bit on the keep, they've taken away all the foliage and all the damage
yeah.
and the church. Do you know what? They said that the tower from the church may well have been part of the initial defense of the castle. Isn't that interesting? So the bailey went out here, wrapped the church in it. That may well have been part of the defences, and there would have been a village outside the bailey, which is
That's
now
how
vanished, of
interesting.
course.
Yeah, how interesting.
Which is now vanished. So it became owned by absentee landlords and tenanted as a farm from 1714. So all kinds of estates had it. The Herrick estates. We know that the Stead family made cider there into the 20th century.
Oh,
4,000 to 5,000 gallons a year was produced at Penhow Castle by the Stead family.
whoa.
Clearly very good at it.
Well, quite,
Uh,
yeah.
And they had all kinds of wonderful little things, which are just little hints of, such as in the mid 19th century, at a field nearby, and I assume that the tenant was in on it. They had illegal prize fighting between
Oh,
a fighter from Birmingham and a fighter from Wales. Bit vague, fighter from
yeah.
Wales. It doesn't record what bit,
Yeah.
but it might even have been a setup because pickpockets just went through the crowd and rifled the pockets.
Oh, well, well, well. Isn't that fascinating?
Prize fighting was not a particularly respectable sport back in the mid 19th or even the 18th century, was it?
Yeah. It was part of the sporting life, wasn't it? The prize fighting. Some of
Mm.
your local aristocracy would keep stables of boxers. They literally called it that, a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
stable of boxers.
They
And,
still do. They still
and they,
do. If you're a boxing manager today or a promoter,
yeah,
like say Frank Warren or Eddie Hearn, they still
yeah,
have a stable of boxers. It's
yeah.
carried on.
I know, astonishing, isn't it? But that because literally they were probably housed in the stable with the grooms.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess
no
that's where it
chivalry of
originated.
groom. Yeah, and when you were allowed to go and punch your next door neighbour's stable boys out. Yeah, it's a really, yeah, it's a fascinating thing. But the press at the time in the 1700s, particularly, were way into into prize fighting, and the reports of it are incredible. In the way they record the ferocity of the battles and the thing. But yeah, it is a real blood sport, prize fighting. It
Yeah, yeah,
really,
yeah, yeah.
it's not. Boxing can be tough. Is a very tough, physically tough sport still. But by God, then it didn't end until somebody died practically. There were no fixed number of rounds. There were no protection of any form. It was a grueling, horrible thing
I
to see.
have to point out, as well as the blood on the lands around
Yeah,
around
yeah,
Penhow Castle and the thieves nipping in between the
yeah,
spectators, they also had respectable things like the Mega Agricultural Society would have their show there, and Penhow Castle Farm would always win prizes. The steads, in particular, were
yeah,
extremely good. But by the time you get to the 20th century, it gets bought at the same time as Pencoid Castle. Again, these two are sort of put together, and it was bought by
yeah.
this man who you will all know lots about because you've watched our Lanwern House podcast. If you haven't, do it now. It's a good one. This is D.A. Thomas, Viscount Rhondda, who
Oh,
lived at Lanwern. Yeah.
yeah,
He bought both and he decided he wanted to restore Pencoid Castle. I don't know if he had a plan for Penhow particularly.
yeah.
But anyway, he died in 1918, so any possible plan. Lady Rhondda still had plans, I think, for Pencoid Castle, but dear old Penhow was sort of put up for sale again. And by this time, the Ivy had won its battle quite extraordinarily.
Oh, 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 good Lord.
It needs a shave, really, Penhow
Yeah,
Castle,
yeah,
in,
yeah,
at this period, doesn't it?
yeah, there's a building in there somewhere, isn't there? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that is quite
It could just
extraordinary.
be a shaped hedge rather than a house, couldn't it? I mean, oh my gosh. Ah,
Yeah. Well, fine. And then it was a farm. It was a farm for a long time. Then in 1971, the Reverend Percy Wilmot Jenkins, who I think was a Seymour sometime way back when he'd researched his family tree,
oh yeah.
he decided that in his 70s, this was a great job for him. So he retired from his parish, came to South Wales and bought it. But it was pretty tough. I mean, it was
What?
in an awful state. I don't know how he got on. Very difficult. So when he died, it was sold in 1973, and a film director, a very young film director and producer in his 20s, called Stephen Weeks, who I think was from Worksop originally. And Stephen Weeks sort of grew up, even at the age of 16, he would look at things in Worksop and they were going to knock it down, and he would say, "No, you can't do that." And clearly that was in his blood as much as filmmaking.
Oh, interesting.
And so for a very long time, he knew he wanted to buy a castle. He'd sold his house in Fulham for £20,000. So he had money to buy something. He knew he wanted a
Yeah.
castle. He knew he wanted someone with a bit of history, and he wanted a courtyard.
Ah,
So,
yeah.
so purely by accident, he happened to stumble upon Penhow Castle, and he was told by the person in it that, oh, it'd been sold a couple of weeks before. He was devastated. He thought
Yeah.
this was the place he'd been looking for all his life, his short life. He was only in his
Yeah,
20s.
yeah.
But the sale fell through. So he's
Ah,
used his £20,000 in 1973 to buy Penhow Castle. Now, Stephen Weeks is known for certain films, such as this one, I Monster with Christopher Lee and Peter
oh,
Cushing. It was
cool.
kind it was kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde, another
Yeah.
version of Jekyll and Hyde. In fact, they wanted to call it Jekyll and Hyde, but I think the studio didn't want it.
Yeah.
He was a bit odd with this one because the studio were obsessed. I think it was this film. obsessed with 3D, which at the time meant you could only really turn the camera in a certain direction, which really limited you, you know. So,
Yeah. Earlier, the later things about 3D are massively in advance of what it was when it initially came out. Yeah.
yeah, but Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, that's not bad in your 20s when you're directing them. There were other things such as Sword of the Valiant. He seemed to be very interested in the tales, the Arthurian tales, which is interesting for what we've found out on these podcasts about this area and Arthurian legend, isn't it?
Oh, quite. Yeah.
He
Oh,
did.
yeah.
He had two
Remember this.
cracks. He had two cracks
Yeah.
at the tale of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, and this was the 1984 version with Sean Connery,
Oh, right.
The Sword of the Valiant, and one which was actually filmed parts of it at Penhow Castle was Ghost Story with Mariana Faithfull.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that. I remember that one. Oh, it's a deluxe 2-disc collector's edition. My
Oh, I
goodness.
tell you, none of your rubbish here.
Yeah.
So yeah, so Stephen Weeks takes over. There he is in front of Penhow Castle. And he decides that he really wants to restore. He wants to live in it. He doesn't want it as a farm. He wants it as a house, and he wants to bring it back to something like its former glory. But when he turned up, I mean, the Great Hall was a granary. The lower hall was a log store, a cow shed, and a coal hole. And the attic was an apple store until the boards started to rot, which they were when he took it over. So it was in a really awful state. But he bought it anyway, you know, he's in his 20s, and he said, I'm glad I wasn't really rich. Because if I'd been really rich, I'd have moved in and thrown money at it, restored it, but made lots of mistakes. Because he didn't have the money, it was a slow process. So he got it right.
Yeah.
And he got it extraordinarily right. I mean, when he moved in, for instance, the keep tower had its windows, doors, and fireplaces blocked to stop children or sheep wandering in. And the rats loved the Great Hall being used as a granary. There were rats everywhere.
Oh, gosh.
It was awful. So, what could he do? Well, he gave it the best shot he knew how. With his limited funds, it took a while, but he made progress. This is the Great Hall.
Oh,
So
good.
he got the wood for the roof from a barn in Norfolk. So he brought that in.
Yeah.
Put that up. This this angel he got from a church. And he admits, he says, look, I can't fill this Penhow Castle with proper antiques.
Yeah,
I don't have the money. So there will be
Yeah.
props, there will be various things. So he gets this angel and he buries it in his garden for a period of time to age it. The lower hall, as you can see, making progress. The rain's not getting in. He did say that the first winter, he sort of had to camp out in the only inhabitable room in the castle.
Good
And he
grief.
said he looked out as it snowed that winter, and the snow came in the keep, and he said, oh, it looked so beautiful, until I realised I had to get rid of it before it thawed.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Because
Yeah,
then you had trouble, didn't you?
yeah.
So the Seymour chamber, I wonder if the step caught him out occasionally.
Yeah.
Early medieval reconstruction. So he really poured his heart and soul into this. This was a labour of love. Now this, he was told in 1970, so 3 years before he bought Penhow Castle, he would get phone calls. And somebody said, look, there's a monastery in Gloucestershire that's being knocked down. They're moving down the road because they've been promised. There are only 6 monks left, and they've been promised down the road double glazing and a colour TV. So the monks are out of there, and it's going to be knocked down. So he turned up, he walked into the chapter house, and he said that the terrible thing was I started the destruction.
Yeah.
Because he got a pickaxe, and he hacked at the tiles on the chapter house floor of this monastery.
Yeah.
And he kept them.
Yeah.
And he put them in Penhow Castle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Well, that's
extraordinary.
not a great deal of difference with some of the things that were done at Port Marion when they were keeping frontages of buildings and even Hurst collecting his.
Oh, no, yeah.
Is that
No,
the
no,
other,
no. No,
The
Weeks
people, the
is...
idea of taking places that were being demolished and put them into something else, he's not new. It's
Oh,
not.
absolutely. But there is a huge difference, not just financially, between
Oh, right,
Weeks
yes, I'm not
and
making
Hurst.
I'm not making
Weeks-
that. I'm not
Oh,
making
no, I know what you mean.
financial comparison, no.
But Weeks was trying to get it right, you know?
Oh
He
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
put something in that he didn't think would fit.
Oh yeah. Oh no, yeah.
Um, whereas Hearst didn't care, did he?
No, no, no. He
Hearst
was
didn't really
stage
care.
dress. It was all stage dressing.
Yeah. I mean, brilliant stage dressing.
Oh yeah, but yeah, no, the
Historically accurate stage dressing for other places.
yeah, 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 yeah. It wasn't that wasn't his principal aim, was it? He was a collector of bits
Now,
and
and as I've said, I mean, it's controversial. We've got a St. Donat's Castle podcast where we discuss this.
yeah,
But Hearst, that ultimately, Atlantic College as it now is,
yeah,
produced something beautiful.
yes, yeah,
Controversial for the places that lost their history for it to be put in St.
yeah,
Donat's.
yeah.
But nevertheless, the monks, this was going to be lost. So,
But this is something it would have been lost and it was saved and relocated here. So that
yeah,
again, it's a much more
exactly.
process.
So he's got this, and he's, it's all very splendid. He's not living particularly in the older bit. That 17th century Lewis house is where he's living, right? But that
Yeah.
needs to be restored as well. And he wants to do that historically accurately. So it's all very splendid. Can you spot someone familiar in this photograph, Goff?
Oh, good Lord! Look at him, Viscount Tredegar and Peeps the dog. Viscount
Yeah.
Godfrey, second Lord Tredegar.
Stephen Weeks got all kinds of little historical stuff that he'd pick up at the markets and whatever and stick it in Penhow Castle to give it some
Oh, he's
historical
got
heft.
one of those absolutely peculiar screens behind the.
Oh, yeah, I can spot Gladstone on that screen.
Oh yeah, they're odd ones. They were Victorian things, weren't they? Where they made a collage out of pictures and things. They stuck these wild images on, and yeah, they're absolutely crazy little things. Yeah.
I've never been convinced by them, to be honest.
I know, but I remember there used to be one in Master's bedroom in Tredegar House. I vaguely remember seeing it, but yeah, wild little things.
I tell you what, if Tredegar House ever had a version which had images on, it would have
Yeah.
been Disraeli rather than Gladstone,
Oh,
wouldn't it?
what a well quite.
And so, isn't it wonderful? 17th
Yeah,
century area, which was the farmhouse, and he got this all done.
yeah.
It's all very nice, all very splendid, and he turned it into a home. It took him a long time. And this staircase, 17th century staircase, and look who pops up again. Godfrey and Pepys.
Oh, Godfrey and Peeps again. He's all around the place.
They must have had a lot of those as a job lot,
Yeah.
unless he moved it around.
So that staircase again was a piece that was collected from a building that was
No. As far as I know, this is in the Lewis area. So I'm
Oh, right.
assuming. I mean, this looks 17th century to me.
Yeah.
So I think this probably was he restored it, no doubt. But I think that was probably the original.
What's the name of those
Barley twist.
Barley twist.
Barley
I couldn't
twist.
think of it. Yeah. Barley
Of course,
twist.
if I'm wrong, Stephen Weeks is still knocking about. Not in this country, but I think he's 77 now, but still working hard with conservation.
Yeah.
Do let us know
Yeah.
if this is. I think it's the original one.
Mm.
Well, it's certainly a 17th
But
century.
doesn't look. It looks as if it could be.
Yeah. And as you say, the barley twist made a great
Yeah.
job as well with the dining room and the 17th century bit.
Oh, that's smashing, isn't it?
I mean, it's really good. So what do? He's got this place. He's restored it. I mean, he's done a fantastic job restoring it, bringing bits in from elsewhere, and he somehow turned it. He got archaeologists in from a university in Cardiff, and so he would use YTS, or the 70s version of YTS, Youth Training Scheme, to help
Yeah.
do some of the work because he had no money to pay people.
Yeah.
So the archaeologists came in 1977 to 78 and found the moat and part of the drawbridge mechanism that Octavius
yeah.
Morgan didn't know was there. But they also found little things like in the moat, an old pair of spurs, an Elizabethan earring, lots of pot shards, and old meat bones where someone had had a meal and Henry VIII style, well, Charles Lawton Henry VIII style, had just tossed them out the window.
Oh, God.
And when he opened the house to the public, the meat bones were a prized thing to show people. Genuine Penhow Castle history, I'll have you know, that bit.
Yeah.
So, of course, he opens to the public.
Yeah.
So you've got an advert here, Penhow Castle tour. Wales's oldest lived-in castle. I can hear the people around St. Donat's now screaming.
Right.
And they
Yeah.
might have a fight on their hands, and I agree with them. So, of course, you take it's one of the oldest lived-in castles. I couldn't tell you if it actually was. St. Donat's would say it wasn't, but who knows? But they did a tour.
But
And
feels
he
like
did
a
it.
damn of a stretch, that one is.
Well, it's close.
Yeah.
It is close. Penhow Castle, remember, 1129. I mean, it beats any of the big ones like Raglan and Chepstow and all of those. But St. Donat's, ooh, that's a tricky one.
Yeah.
But anyway, they've got a shout, but we can't be sure. So they
Yeah.
put on this tour. Now, visitor centre, that's a sore point. Because when he started getting a bit of a success, he created a visitor centre, lost a lot of money, had to close it. Some business ventures work, some don't, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Their tour was a Walkman tour. It was the 80s.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Good luck. Yeah, yeah, yeah. For people who don't know, who are young of yours, you
One for
used
the
to put
teenagers.
a cassette tape into a little thing that probably wasn't much bigger than a cassette tape. And you put on a little pair of headphones and you press the play button and you walked out of the room and listened to it. And then you stopped it and you walked into the next room and pressed it again. Yeah.
But this was the first tour, as far as we know, in Britain of its kind.
Oh,
The
no,
Weeks was ahead of the game. And
that's interesting.
it was certainly the first recording tour with a Welsh version.
Oh, no, that is very interesting. Well, well, well.
And you had different versions, different
Yeah.
tapes that you could have. He admitted that they did it the old BBC way with the classic age of radio, which I'm a great
Yeah.
fan of, where he said, for having a head cut off, I cut a cabbage with an axe.
Yeah.
Coconut shells, Monty Python style for horses' hooves.
Yeah.
But if you rustle crisp packets, it sounds like people walking on leaves.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, yeah.
It was very artistic. I mean, very imaginative. Sorry, is the word I'm looking for. So he produces this, and there was a kids' version. There was a version just with sound effects if you don't like
Yeah.
guided tours or anything. So about 4 or 5 of these versions, and they became award-winning.
Oh, gosh. So interesting.
And so much so that Stephen Weeks was advised by places, I think, like Warwick Castle, which are now big things, aren't they? Run
Oh,
by
yes,
Madame
yeah.
Tussauds.
Yeah.
But in the 70s and 80s, they came to Stephen Weeks for advice.
Well, now
But he made
that's
this work.
very interesting. Yeah.
He made this work, and they got, I mean, very good. I mean, for a little place,
Yeah.
they had 15,000 visitors a year,
Good Lord.
which isn't bad at all, I don't
Yeah,
think.
no.
But for your little tours, and then they had banquets, and they had Halloween, and they had all that sort of thing.
I remember the banquets going on there.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know, but I remember people going to them regularly, saying, "No, we can banquet at Penhow Castle."
Yeah. He also decided to cash in a way, the Seymour family. A lot of Americans, including the Seymours of Maine, were
Yeah.
very interested all of a sudden. Penhow Castle, a Seymour place, was
Yeah.
a thing. And they gave money and various things, and they would visit. So what Stephen Weeks did was he went to St. Maur in Normandy, and he went to the actual tomb of St. Maur, and he
Yeah.
was allowed to take a stone or a rock from the tomb.
Oh gosh.
So he set it up like a relic.
Yeah.
And he invited Seymours to come to Penhow Castle and touch the Seymour stone.
Oh yeah.
The ultimate example of this, of course, is the head of the Seymour family, even to this day, which is the Duke of Somerset.
Somerset. Yeah.
And there's the Duke of Somerset coming to touch the Seymour stone at Penhow Castle. Isn't it extraordinary? Yeah, a very imaginative man. I'm a bit of a fan, really, because there are not all that many defenders of heritage in this area around with his kind of, I don't know, drive, I suppose.
Yeah.
Difficult, isn't it? But Penhow got a champion in him, but nothing lasts forever, does it?
No.
Nothing lasts forever.
No.
And as far as it works with him, he decided ultimately to sell up in 2002.
Yeah.
Had some wonderful bits. There was a lady from, was it Wales? Was it the Echo? I think it might be the Echo or the Western Mail, who he allowed to stay there over Halloween. And he put her, I think, in the Seymour room, and she left in the middle of the night. She left a note. She said, "I can't stay here."
Oh gosh.
Because she was there, and she admits that, the imagination was everything and all that sort of thing. But she heard bells in the middle of the night.
Oh
Just bells ringing. When she got in touch with Stephen Weeks the next day, because she'd left, they'd prepared breakfast for her, but she had to leave a note, and she couldn't stand the night.
Yeah.
Lovely folklore, and she said, "No," and he said, "Well, I don't know where the bells would have come from, because there are no bells, at midnight."
Oh no,
anyway.
that's interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
So he sells up in 2002, and the castle hasn't been open to the public since 2002.
Yeah.
Because he sold it and he moved to Bohemia. He moved to the Czech Republic to help restore castles.
Oh right. Oh, that's
So
interesting.
from filming, obviously castle restoration was something he was particularly brilliant at. And he's still doing that at the age of 77, as far as I know, to this
Yeah,
day. He was also a huge defender of Newport's history. When
yeah.
people went on about Newport town centre and whether they should knock down certain buildings, Stephen Weeks was a champion for the buildings in Newport town centre as well.
Hmm.
So I suppose the Czech Republic's gain is Newport's loss. But there we are. So off he popped. So there it is. Lovely little Penhow Castle.
So
Which,
is it back to being a private home now?
oh, it's a private home, yes. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Please don't turn up and try and get in. It is a private home.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I don't know what will happen in the future, but at the moment it is just a private home with a lot of, I think, interesting history.
Mhm.
Now, just down the road, as we said to begin with, was Pencoid Castle, which you didn't know that much about, Goff.
No, I don't know a great deal about this at all.
Oh, that's fair enough. Because what we've got here, it is an extraordinary castle in its own way. The original bit, which was about 100 years after the original Seymour keep
Yeah.
of Penhow, is here.
Oh, that little bit there, a little
A
red.
little bit there. So you would have had, you would have had your Bailey
Yeah.
around, and you might have had more than one. But there we are. We're in Llanmartin now, so it's just really down the road, less than 2 miles away from Penhow. We're at Pencoid, end or head of the wood. And it's the site of a Norman castle, this bit Norman Castle, which was owned by Sir Richard de la More. So again, you've got your Normans. But this
Yeah.
is 1270, so it's a lot later. It's circular for a start.
Yes, yes.
Um, Now, we know about Sir Richard de la More. He was one of the jury of Wentwood, so he claimed the right to fell timber for building and hay for his cattle. So I'm sure a lot of it was taken from Wentwood Forest to produce
Yeah, it must have
whatever
been.
the original castle looked like.
Yeah.
By the 1470s, again inevitably, it fell into the hands of the Morgans of Tredegar.
Oh, did it?
It was always going to be the Morgans, the Herberts, or the Somersets.
Yeah.
We've got this pattern now, haven't we, in this
Yeah.
area? So what we've got here, though, is quite interesting. So the Morgans of Tredegar, it ended up many cadet branches, and the cadet branch at Langston in the early 1500s ultimately moved from Langstone Court to Pencoid. So we're in the early years. We're Henry VIII's early years, right?
Oh, right, yeah.
Late Henry VII, early Henry VIII. So the Morgans of Pencoid set up here. So Thomas Morgan of Pencoid may have built, probably using bits from the original castle. Some of the walls are extremely thick on this main house.
Yeah.
And he started to build. And his son, Sir William Morgan, almost certainly finished it. So we've got, this is Norman, but the incredible 3-story gatehouse is Tudor.
Oh, right.
And this is Tudor.
Say that looked like a Tudor building. Yeah. I mean, there'll be nothing else a Tudor, aren't they?
Yeah. So what's happened actually at this time, because the Morgans of Tredegar have had a bit of bad luck, and they're less thrusting in the age of Henry VIII and early Elizabeth than they were before and after, shall we say. One Morgan, John Morgan, dies, and he has a minor take over. Now, when a minor takes over, there is, there is a gap, isn't there? There is.
I think you may need to define that a little better because people may be picturing a man with a lamp on his hat.
No, I'm sure they don't, Goff. We're talking Tudor times. I'm sure you are doing down our viewers on this.
Yeah,
A minor, as in someone not old enough to take over the estate, a child.
Child.
A minor in a sense other than hacking for coal, but I'm sure they worked that out.
Wales, my dear boy, these things happen.
I suppose so. But yeah, so the Morgans of Tredegar are sort of on ice. They're not doing it. Morgans of Pencoid take command. They take all the best influential positions in court. One of the Morgans of Pencoid had fought for Henry VII. When you get to Sir William Morgan of Pencoid, who takes over, where John Leyland called him Morgan the Knight of Lower Wentland, dwelleth at Pencoid in a fair manor place.
Oh.
Now, anyone who's read John Leyland will know that he uses fair manor place and fair place of stone quite a lot, but he did see a lot of places.
Yeah, quite, yes.
You run out of originality after a few pages.
Yeah, quite, yeah. But you never know.
Pages
They did. It may be because he used it so regularly. You wonder it may be the way they were defining these type of things, and that the phrase means something slightly more at the time period than it does to us.
Oh, I'm sure that's true. Sir William Morgan, by the way, it's quite entertaining because he was knighted at Boulogne. We're talking about the 1530s here now, okay?
Yeah.
Knighted at Boulogne, and he's done very well for himself. And then he gets involved in the 1533 Trinity Sunday riot in Newport. Remind us, Goff, quickly what that was.
Ah, the Trinity Sunday riot occurred as basically it was a sort of a battle that more or less took over the town at the time. Newport was not very big at the point. Newport was never very big for a very long time. It's only in the Victorian period and it blossoms. But on the big rivals of the Morgan family at the time were the Herberts, as usual, who were lords of the manor of Newport. And at one occasion, one of the Herberts discovered one of the Morgan's dogs at the pack of there behaving in a frankly over-familiar fashion with it. And the Morgans thought this was absolutely hilarious that their dog was giving one of the Morgans' dogs a night of passion. And a lot of mockery took place, and there was a bit of argy-bargy and a bit of shoving. And the Morgans and Herberts retired to their properties, gathered their followers, and then returned, getting on Trinity Sunday, with 200 followers each, and essentially wrecked the town completely. There was this running battle between these two gangs. And then the town was left practically in ruin. He just knocked it to the ground while battling over whose dog had been a little over familiar. Best way to describe it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And Sir William Morgan of Pencoid, who was in charge, I mean, he got the job as chief steward of Newport when Buckingham fell in the 1520s. Buckingham was the lord of Newport Castle. And when he fell, basically Sir William Morgan of Pencoid picked up the spoils, which the Morgans of Tredegar in previous generations would have done. But there is this vacant, sort of space that they fill. He became chief steward of Newport and Macon for life.
Well,
he was in the Princess Mary's household, vice chamberlain of that, in Lulworth, later Mary I. And it was also his job to keep the peace in Newport.
oh,
So he turns up at Newport, Sir William Morgan, leaves Pencoid, he turns up at Newport, and he basically tells them to stop it. And he declares many injunctions that nobody listens to. He tries to make the peace, but of course he's biased.
well, yes.
He's very much on the side of his kinsman.
Yeah.
And so the people of Newport, we don't know about what happens after, but I found this off. This is brilliant. He made this biased decision, came back to Pencoid, and this is what happened afterwards, Goff. A party from Newport marched over the moors to Pencoid Castle, smashed all the windows, and besides firing bolts and arrows to the number of some hundreds. Blessed are the peacemakers.
Yes, he'd seriously upset them.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, he'd have to get away, and quite frankly, Sir William Morgan of Pencoid pops up in loads of places.
Yeah. There was an inquiry held again about the Trinity Sunday riot, and again, as usual, everybody just closed ranks. Nobody seemed to remember what happened. The bit of shoving, apparently. The town just spontaneously burst into fire and fell down around them. And so there was no real comeuppance for this. Nobody was ever came, but that was the way it operated at the time, really. So you've got to remember, as we've said before and time again, I think it's worth repeating, that these landowning families, these were not aristocrats. They might have been Lord so-and-so, but they were not aristocrats in the 19th century sense, or the Downton Abbey sense that we think of. These were gangland bosses. They had their own gangs of retainers, they were in, official positions. They operated the law to their own benefit. So they're more like Don Corleone than actually anything to do with the respectable aristocrats of the 19th century period. So again, that's why a pack of people will turn up and storm your house.
You have to admit that if Sir William Morgan has problems with the locals just smashing all his windows, because it's a Tudor house, not a castle at that point, right, isn't it? You got this wonderful gatehouse, but it really is an ornamental, look how wonderful I am gatehouse, rather than a let's keep out the populace.
Yeah.
So he does that, but you can't blame him for going with Henry VIII and getting a bit of glamour. Because Sir William Morgan of Pencoid turns up here. Can you spot him? Field of Cloth of Gold. When Henry VIII meets King Francis of France, and the Field of Cloth of Gold. And Sir William Morgan of Pencoid was there somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah. 14th man with a stick on the left. That's
There's
right.
no portrait of him. There's no portrait of any of these Morgans of Pencoid. So I mean, this is problematic when you're trying to illustrate a talk and a chat about it. But anyway, so he was an important guy. He dies in 1542. His son serves as MP and mayor of Newport, but dies in 1565. His grandson, Sir William Morgan, same name, known as the Old Warrior, takes over. Now he is interesting because he got in the army because of apparently a friend called Sir Francis Walsingham.
Oh, yeah. Well, well, well. Yeah.
Elizabeth I's chief spy master, one of the great names of espionage, isn't he,
Probably
Walsingham?
the originator of a service that eventually evolved into MI5. They're really they're real they put spying on an absolutely professional basis,
Yeah.
organized and structured, and ciphers also. Yeah, very, 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 very clever
I
man.
was trying to work out what connection Walsingham might have had with Pencoid and Morgan of Pencoid. And it turns out that Francis Walsingham's, it's a bit tenuous, but his grandfather married a Morgan of Pencoid widow.
Oh,
So they would have known there is a connection, and clearly there was some connection between Walsingham and Morgan of Pencoid, and it might have helped Sir William II if we're going to talk about him. He becomes a soldier of fortune
oh yeah,
who loses all his fortune because he's inherited wealth.
yeah,
Unlike, say, the Morgans of Pencarn, you sometimes have this where you have a branch that just won a fight. I mean,
yeah.
his grandfather was probably at Bosworth Field. They were all knights. They were all knighted for fighting.
Yeah.
So this Sir William Morgan was called the Old Warrior, even though he died at 41. A soldier of fortune, he headed off to the Huguenot Wars in France, but served great success in the Netherlands, the Spanish Netherlands, so for Dutch freedom. So he goes there, and I like this because he was put with this William the Silent. There's William the Silent. The King of Spain is pointing at him saying, "Speak, man!" But
Oh
he
yeah.
never did. William the Silent.
Oh gosh.
So anyway, Sir William Morgan of Pencoid is with him, and he's brilliant. He has 10 men, and he pays their wages. And that's maybe the fatal flaw. He would pay the wages of his men if the government didn't come up with the money.
Oh right. Oh,
Now, that's great for your men. And they
yeah.
know you're honest, they know you care. But the government take advantage of such kindness.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
it certainly happened with Sir William Morgan II of Pencoid. I mean, it was awful. So he did his bit there. So he serves it. Then he serves in Ireland under his friend, the Earl of Essex. If you serve in Ireland, it's a disaster anyway. You're not going to make money in Ireland. There's going to be death. There's going to be bad conditions. It's going to be awful. So he's over in Ireland doing his best over there. Expedition in Antrim. He's appointed marshal. He comes back. He's knighted by Queen Elizabeth I in Bristol in 1574. So he gets his knighthood. So that's good news. The Earl of Essex says that he's a very valiant man. He's a wonderful man. He deserves all the honours. Thank you, Earl of Essex, who falls shortly afterwards
Oh,
and
yes.
gets executed. Anyone who's seen the Errol Flynn movies will know what I mean. One for the teenagers there. So he has a lack of funds, so he has to sell some of his South Wales properties because he's still paying his men, and he's not making any money serving in Ireland. He sold Moyns Court, Langston, so he's selling a lot of it. So he comes back a bit cheesed off, quite frankly. A bit cheesed off. So they make him in 1574 the Vice Admiral of South Wales,
Oh gosh.
almost to shut him up. At this point, he's borrowed money from the Crown.
Yeah.
He owes Queen Elizabeth about £2,000.
Oh gosh.
So they've given him this. He's served valiantly in Ireland and in the Netherlands. So he's Vice Admiral of South Wales. It means he gets a cut of the wrecks. And if he captures pirates, he gets a cut of that as well.
Oh, that's interesting. I never knew that.
However, capturing pirates might not have been high on his list of priorities.
No.
We've had this conversation before, haven't we, Goff? But we have how, those in charge of catching pirates were often in league with the pirates.
Yeah.
Especially working out of Newport. We've got a bit of evidence for this as well. William Fickens, a captured pirate, asked a known pirate called Bats to accompany him to the Barbary coast. And Bat says, I'm willing to do so, but for my former contract with Sir William Morgan of Pencoid. So worshipful a gentleman, I cannot find it in my heart to break my word with him. Oh dear. So they come around, and Sir William leaves it to his deputies, but you know he's getting a cut out of this. And he is very heavily linked with a man called John or Jack Callis, who was the main pirate of the day working out of Newport and attacking shipping.
Come across him before.
Yeah, no, this is the interesting bit. In 1577, Jack Callis has captured a ship. 1577, remember, which he brings into Newport, called the Red Lion.
Right. I never realised it was a captured ship, the Red
On
Lion.
board is the crew that he has basically taken hostage. They tell Sir William Morgan of Pencoid this, expecting him to arrest Callis and free the hostages. What actually happens is provisions are sent to the ship. Now, the interesting thing is, of course, what happens the next year? Sir William Morgan of Pencoid's kinsman, Miles Morgan of Tredegar, heads off with Sir Humphrey Gilbert on a ship called...
Red Lion of Newport.
So did the Red Line of wherever it was become the Red Line of Newport? So basically Miles Morgan was using a pirate ship.
Well, yes, I mean, that is... Well, one might say a sequestrated pirate ship. But no, he basically... Yeah, it's not interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that before. That the ship, it's incredibly unlikely going to have two Red Lion ships
in the same port.
Really, that's
within
not
a year.
Yeah, no.
And Miles was up to no good.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
And that same year, 1577, Sir William Morgan of Pencoid was accused of preparing ships in Newport to go to sea in a warlike manner. So clearly what he's done is, I'm not getting my money. I've wasted lots of money in service to the crown, who are not grateful.
Yeah.
I am going to earn money through piracy. Yeah. Is that an unreasonable verdict, the facts we have?
Yeah.
So he was forbidden to leave port, but he still has friends in high places, almost certainly Walsingham, because the council placed on record that Sir William Morgan of Pencoid will not be sent to the Tower, and he is well thought of by the Queen. They made that publicly known.
Oh, good.
I don't know quite what's going on there. And then Sir William has another weird moment. The next year, on the 11th of July, 1578, between 11 p.m. and midnight, he is discovered. In this place. Now, this is Paris Gardens in London. Oh, it's a lovely spot. This is the bear baiting pit.
Oh, God. Oh, God, yes.
And just beyond it, near where Lambeth Palace is, there is Lambeth Marshe Fields. And anyway, he was found by a patrol of the City Watch between 11 p.m. and midnight on the 11th of July, 1578, in a cluster of willow trees guarded by 3 servants in conversation with the French ambassador. We don't know what he was doing.
That's a bit sus, isn't it, frankly?
A little. Mr. Fleetwood, the melodramatic and, quite frankly, drama queen recorder of London at the time, immediately sends back to London, to the council, that agents of Mary Stuart made this area their continued haunt. It's a bower of conspiracy and a college of malcounsel. So clearly Mr. Fleetwood thought there was something dramatic going on here, but we don't know what was going on.
No.
So he's in conversation. He's not a Catholic.
I have to say, if you're meeting in the middle of the woods at night on a common with 3 guards and you're chatting to a French ambassador, you're not
French ambassador.
Casual stroll, though, are you? Yeah. Good Lord! Look, I just happened to bump into the French ambassador. No. Yeah, something was going on, wasn't there? Isn't that interesting? Oh, you would have thought all these Walsingham connections. You might have realised there was. Oh, I wonder.
Well, that's it, isn't it? That's the key that people haven't mentioned in history books. You have got that they have not linked the fact that Walsingham got him his first start in the army, and there's a familial connection, and he's doing this espionage stuff.
Oh, isn't that interesting? So he may not be doing it freelance. He might be doing something on behalf of the crown.
Yeah, well, they certainly didn't punish him for this. So I think it's very interesting. I think it's a when you add it all together,
Yeah,
something's going on in Lambeth Marshfield.
yeah. So it's
Uh,
not him doing the dodgy stuff. It may be the French guy that's doing the dodgy stuff, feeding information to him, not the other way round. Well, 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 well.
Entirely possible.
Well,
Anyway, unfortunately, this doesn't help he's still in debt, 2,000 marks to the Queen. So he's sent back to Ireland with 400 foot soldiers and 100 horsemen to Munster. They make him the lieutenant of Cork and Waterford. These are important historical people in Newport, you know?
yeah,
But he's ruling these parts of Ireland and he's desperate for money. He says at this point, my leg is swelling. You've made me constable of Dungarvan Castle. The only place where rain doesn't come in is my bedroom. I'm getting very ill. I've got no money. You don't pay me for all of this.
oh,
I've got all of this. I'm an excellent soldier. I've done all this work for the crown. I've got nothing apart from the knighthood.
yeah,
Financially, he is absolutely. He won't even let me be a little cheeky pirate.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So finally, he got a break. 1582, he sells the constableship of Dungarvan Castle to Captain Humphrey Mackworth for £200.
Oh,
Humphrey Mackworth is immediately murdered. And the constableship comes back to Sir William Morgan, who sells it again for £200. But he does give £100 to Mackworth's widow, so he's made a £300 profit, so that's not bad.
that's outrageous. Yeah, no, yeah, we need a bit more evidence before we can pin it on him. But it's sussing it, don't it?
He's quite a character, this one, isn't he? Anyway, he finally gets home, and he's only back 16 months when he drops dead.
Oh, imagine what was the fat leg doing?
Oh, the fat leg wasn't helping.
Uh,
And he was 41 when he died. And at that point, Pencoid Castle was still held by the crown because he didn't pay him back the money he owed. Quite frankly, the service he did to them.
Well, yes, really, it does seem a bit much.
There is a selfishness in Elizabeth I, which we sometimes pass over. I mean,
Yeah.
those heroes of the Armada, a lot of them didn't get paid.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah, so there is that sort of side of it. Anyway, so what happens with Pencoid? Eventually it passes out of Morgan hands in the Civil War. Sir Edward Morgan was there. He was a royalist, so that wasn't a good career move during the Civil War. He gets fined £1,007. Sir Trevor Williams takes over Pencoid Castle and uses it to garrison whatever side he was on that week.
Yeah.
Sir Trevor Williams of Llangibby, who changed his colours very often.
Yeah.
Constantly. And then it falls into decay as a farmhouse. We've heard this song before, haven't we?
Yeah.
And then it gets bought by the most cheerful man you could ever possibly meet. And well done to anyone who watched our first few podcasts, because this is a wonderful comeback. This is Admiral Thomas Matthews, the most miserable admiral in the British Navy. Who in 1749 bought Pencoid Castle, and he said, because I won't have any neighbours and I won't have any friends. Actually, I don't blame him. He was an admiral, and he wasn't Nelson. He was a brave man, but he had no imagination. And his career in the Royal Navy was ruined when he was in charge of a battle, massively in his advantage, and he didn't press it, and he basically let the enemy escape. Got court-martialed for it and found guilty. And sort of cashiered out of the Royal Navy. And at that point, he got really grumpy. He was the man who created Llandaff Court, but also bought Pencoid Castle. And there he is, Mr. Cheerful himself. He popped up on our early podcast. It's very nostalgic to see him back again. There was an unfair little rhyme at the time which says this: Sir Thomas Matthews, Commodore, the greatest pirate of the sea, could he but live a few years more, as great a thief on land he'd be. Very unfair. He wasn't a pirate. Didn't have the drive for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Besides, you had to deal with people, and Sir Thomas Matthews didn't like people. So he was there for a while, and then it decayed, and it became a farmhouse, and it just passed. It was owned by Sir Mark Wood for a while, who had Piercefield, Sir Robert Salisbury, who had Llanwern. It's like a who's who of previous podcasts. and it just fell into ruin, where the house became a chicken coop.
Oh,
And
you
it
know,
happens.
yeah,
Unloved from
yeah.
that moment on. There was one man who was interested in it, however. One man who decided to write about it.
Octavius Spinnerton Morgan, hurrah! He makes a second visit to the podcast.
He does. He wrote with Thomas Wakeman on the history of Pencoid Castle, when, again, various people weren't particularly interested. But then again, it is that. It is a farm. Look, there's no roof at all in the castle now.
Oh, skull in it, yeah,
It's just a ruin.
yeah.
I mean, your farmhouse isn't even at the castle now. It's probably just nearby.
Yeah. Some
It's terribly sad.
ludicrously florid foliage on that thing.
Oh yeah, very absolutely ludicrously florid. And when Octavius Morgan wrote a paper on Pencoid Castle, again he commissioned an illustrator, which for historical purposes is wonderful because we know how it looked in 1867, I believe. And again, it's another doer-upper.
Gosh. Oh, that's
Yeah,
isn't it? Yeah. Blimey.
yeah. So that's sort of gone completely, isn't it?
Yeah.
And ooh dear. So it didn't look great. It didn't look great, it's safe to say. But Octavius, I mean, Octavius did his job and did his paper and pushed it, but it carried on until the 20th century with Lord Rhondda again, Viscount Rhondda.
Yeah.
Because he
Oh,
bought Pencoid Castle the same time as Penhow Castle. Like I
yeah.
said, I don't think he had a plan for Penhow. He did have a plan for Pencoid, and he started to restore it. Now, okay, there's a roof on there, so maybe it was used as part of a farmhouse at the start of the 20th century. This is the Great Hall. You turn right, you've got your Great Hall and your Great Chamber above.
Yeah.
Look at the roof and look at it as it is there, and look at the windows here, okay?
Well,
Because
oh, yeah.
after
Yeah.
restoration, as it is now, you can see what Lord Rhondda and others since have done.
Yeah.
Those Tudor windows that you think are genuine aren't, are they?
No, no. Oh, it's not
If you
interesting.
go back, they're little.
Yeah, the top ones. I mean, unless they found something in the brickwork. I mean, an original lintel line
It
or something. It may be.
maybe.
So
It's possible.
that
We
top.
don't we don't have an image of Pencoid Castle in its pomp, which is a terrible loss.
No.
But they certainly castellated up here.
I mean, you could
Just-
make a case for those windows going on existing existing patterns of the way the buildings were put together because they do match those upper windows. Weird to have upper windows that big and tiny windows at the bottom, but you never know. You may have. It's
You
difficult.
never know. It's certainly an alteration. I don't know if it was castellated back in the day. It might have been, but that does smack 19th century romance, early 20th century romance.
Yeah,
I don't know why you'd need it to be castellated. I mean, it's purely ornamental, isn't it?
exactly.
So I don't know. And anyway, whatever plans Lord Rhondda had for it failed when he died in 1918. During World War One, 42 British soldiers were there, so it can't have been in that bad a shape, actually.
No, I must know.
Certainly go in there. So they were in there, and then German prisoners of war were there for a while in the First World War. Lady Rhondda ultimately sold it in 1931, not before building a new house in 1922 in the ruins.
Oh,
So
yeah.
just to the left. So that was the house anyone would live in. And she sold it in 1931. So we get a more modern one. Let's have a little look here. So what you got here is the 1922 house. Can you see that?
Yes.
You got the barns up here. You got Tudor here, and it's got a roof. That's better than it was when Octavius had it sketched.
Mm.
And here is a bungalow from the 1960s,
Oh, right.
which was sort of added as well. So, you know, things change, don't they?
Mm.
Now, the problem was what happens afterwards. Well, it was basically a farm for a long period. The Williams family owned it for a while. And Mrs. Williams, when they bought it, said something very interesting. She essentially said, well, my husband's a farmer. He bought it for the land. And we got this castle on the land.
Yeah.
He didn't buy the castle. Farmers buy the land,
Yeah.
the farm.
An awful lot of properties wound up in that on farmers' land in that way. They just wanted the land. They didn't care damn about it. Yeah.
Yeah. He had no plan for the castle whatsoever. And why would he, quite frankly,
Oh,
as
yeah.
you rightly say? So what happens is, eventually he sells it. in 1990, the Williams family sells it, and it was going to be a hotel and golf course. Rutland Leisure Limited bought it. Huge plan for a hotel and golf course, a bit like Saint Pierre,
Oh,
that sort of thing. Which is now a hotel and golf course, and the Hendra to a certain extent as well. But that didn't come to anything. Then in 1998, we had Legend Court. Do you remember the Legend Court idea, Goff? This was going to build Europe's largest theme park centered on Pencoid Castle.
no, I don't. I don't vaguely remember that in any way.
Well, it was a massive idea. And it started off, they came in and they said, oh, this is going to be amazing. It's going to be thousands of jobs. It's going to be wonderful. And it started off 40 acres, and then it became 100 acres. And then their eventual plan was 1,000 acres of greenbelt land, including nightclubs, a hotel, a theme park, the biggest in Europe. It was a massive sort of thing that they wanted. But one local journalist remembers during the press conference, and there were these men in shiny suits.
Yeah.
It was, and he asked one of them afterwards, so you thought about this, obviously, what's going to be the theme of this theme park? And he paused, this guy, and he said, pirates?
Oh,
So at that time, they just knew they wanted to build a theme park, a lot of it undercover as well. It was a huge thing. I mean, McAlpine supported it.
they
This
had
was
a
a proper thing.
what a theme war it was.
Then they managed to get it down to this is the theme that they then got. Can you put these two together, Goff? The idea was going to be pirates and space. Space pirates. I don't know what the idea was. I think they galloped ahead of themselves.
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
And then it filtered into the press that we would have the first space camp in Europe
Oh, I
added
vaguely
to the thing. Do
remember
you remember
that,
the
yeah.
space camp?
Yeah, I vaguely remember Space Camp. Yeah.
Space Camp, Pencoid Space Camp. And it's all added to this enormous 1,000-acre building on Green Belt. And Stephen Weeks gets involved, of course. Stephen Weeks says, look, you're talking through your hat, because what you're saying here, it will make X amount of jobs. You know, there are other theme parks that don't generate those sorts of jobs. So where is it coming from? And what are you going to do about the woods around? And what are you going to do? They didn't really have the right answers.
No.
They finally settled on a theme, and it was going to be an Arthurian theme. So I don't know what happened to the space pirates, but it was going to be an Arthurian theme. Legend Court, centered on Pencoid Castle, as an Arthurian castle. That was the plan. Well, eventually, as this rumbled on in the press, it was eventually turned down by Newport Council, planning permission. I don't know if it would have worked.
No, it makes sense. No. I know you like to be fair, but I don't think it would have worked. It's possibly one of the biggest stretches of good news I've ever heard about. No.
You know, my favourite thing was they tried to stop it. They tried to think of so many ways of stopping it. And one of the ways they came up with was harking back to the history of when Pencoid and Penhow were matched by love. See how this all links, this podcast? This isn't just done on the back of a fag packet, is it, Goff? This is... and they decided, well, there was a rare bat at Penhow. And if it could mate with a female bat at Pencoid, they couldn't build. Because as we know, bats have superpowers. They can stop building, can't they?
Yeah.
They raise a wing. If you could get a rare bat at Pencoid, then that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. So that was the plan.
Right.
Yeah. So the idea is, harking back to those early times, we have a Pencoid and a Penhow bat in love. They mate, and therefore you can't have your legend theme park. That had no, I don't know whether it was successful or not. I don't know if they got on, quite frankly. But Newport Council turned down the application.
They don't phone, they don't write.
They're not in contact anymore. It was just one of those, you know. One of those celebrity romances that look good in papers but never last.
Deleted their Tinder account and they never got in touch again.
2000. Let's get back to something nice. I love that gateway. That Tudor gateway. Anyway, in 2001, Peter Morgan, good name, bought the house for £1.7 million. And he had an idea to turn it into have 12 houses on the site
Yeah.
and turn it into offices. And again, that didn't quite make it either. And then again, things didn't help when Peter Morgan murdered someone there, which certainly
Oh,
didn't help. And the
oh,
bungalow bit that
oh.
yeah, it's a great tragedy. And it is a terrible thing
Yeah.
that when people think of Pencoid Castle today, they think of the murder in 2016.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I mean,
yeah.
it's a terrible tragedy.
Yeah.
It was all to do with blackmail
Yeah.
and all sorts of things, and basically he was paying, I think, Georgina Simmons or Simons £10,000 a month and allowing her to live in the bungalow rent free at Pencoid. And he fed up. She didn't love him, and he thought it's one of those crimes of passion.
Yeah.
And it's a terrible, tragic thing. But I hope one day people will look at the history of Pencoid Castle and think of more than just that 2016 murder. But at the moment, we're far too close to it, aren't we?
Yeah.
Anyway, Peter Morgan, after that tragedy, was sentenced to life imprisonment. And in 2020, the castle was sold again for £1.1 million. And as it stands, they're trying to restore it.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the latest. The owners might be watching this. I don't know. If you are, let us know how the plans are getting on. Certain people have got in the castle. Again, this is privately owned, so don't go to Pencoid Castle just like Penhow. Don't try to get in there. But inevitably, people have over the years and have been allowed to, it has to be said. People have been allowed to take photos inside. So to give you an idea of how it looked at least a few years ago, inside might be better now. I can see potential.
Hmm. Yeah, that's more intact than you would necessarily expect from the exterior, isn't it?
This has a roof, by the way, the
Yeah.
bits I'm showing you.
Oh, right.
So this isn't exposed to the elements,
Yeah.
as you can see. So it's interesting. I mean, it looks as if there's a possibility here, isn't it? It's not as long gone as some of the things we've seen.
Oh, no.
So there is,
Yeah, right.
possibility.
Yeah.
So here we are to this day. We've got Pencoid Castle, and who knows what it will be like in a few years.
Hmm.
I mean, it survived a fair bit. They say at one time, I mean, you've got the farmhouse 1922 house built here, but there would have been buildings right the way along here in an L shape. So it
Yeah.
was enclosed.
Yeah.
So we will have to wait and see. Lovely barns you can see there as well. What happens to Pencoid Castle? Because like Penhow, I think it has an interesting history.
Yeah. Yeah. Fascinating. Yeah. I mean, it's the interesting thing about, I think, a lot of these smaller places around this area, they had some very significant individuals in them, which you just, and operating at the top levels of court structures and things at the time. But of course, that just all seems to just go woof and just fade out and gone, disappears. And you forget all about it entirely. You just see a ruin on a hill. Something about it, that isn't there? Yeah, oh, yeah. Ozymandias. Look up
Yes.
my works, you mighty in despair.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, nothing lasts. I mean, it's what we're
Oh,
told of this, but certainly the memories and history might be able to last if given the right conduit to tell the stories. Um, it's a difficult thing. I really hope but Penhow Castle had a happy ending, didn't it?
yes. Yeah.
Restored by Stephen Weeks. It is in excellent condition, and I hope the people there are very happy. And
Yeah.
hopefully Pencoid Castle can get a happy ending as well.
Yeah.
I do have to admit, just going through it, I am intrigued by that Sir William Morgan of Pencoid who knew Walsingham.
Yes.
What was he doing at that field? That's one thing that history does not record. We do not know anywhere what was going on. Was he working for Walsingham? What does your gut say?
My gut says he was waiting for Walsingham because nothing happened to him.
Nothing happened to him, yeah.
It's familial connection, but also, had he been caught trying to get the secrets out to the French or sell out to the French, he would have had trouble. So I think he was doing something on behalf of our intelligence service and maybe collecting information from the French rather than giving it or something along those lines. Yeah, and it's really interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah, definitely up to something, though. They seem
Well,
you certainly aren't just casually out for a stroll with three armed men in the woods with the French ambassador, are you?
no, you're not. At 11 p.m. At night. No, no. But there we are. Well, thank you, Goff. That was great.
Perfect.
And enjoy Christmas at Tredegar House then, Goff. You're back there tomorrow. Are you back there tomorrow?
I am, yes, from Friday onwards now, right away, open right into the new year this year as well. So that'll be
If you
nice.
do go to Tredegar House, you might see Goff, and that's
Yeah.
always a bonus. Okay. Well, thank you very much for listening, and we will be back soon because we've got a plan, haven't we? Because rather than our normal review of the year, because we've only done 6 or possibly 7 houses this year, we're actually going to do the top 10
Yes.
views and talk about some of the people there and feedback some of the comments that you've given us over the years.
Yes.
That's
So
the
we'll
plan.
in the new year.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.